Hi everyone. I recently purchased a Lenovo S205 laptop, and in this presentation I'm going to take you through why did I purchase this, as well as a brief review of this particular laptop. So coming to the why, so as you know, laptop is, or any computer is consisting of the CPU, the graphics unit, the bus, the RAM, the hard disk, and the I/O, which is consists of your mouse, keyboard, monitor, and others. There could be other units, but these are basically the main building blocks. The bus communicates between the CPU, RAM, graphics unit, hard disk, and I/O. So the speed of the bus could also be a limiting factor. This is the capacity. What we see is that typically the CPU has much more capacity, but most of the time it is waiting for the data from the hard disk to come or the RAM to arrive, which means that CPU is sitting idle for a lot of time. And this is again a typical home usage where we have internet usage, the games, and TVs, movies, or internet radio, or something like that. Now, what we would like to do is reduce the capacity of the CPU and increase the capacity of this, and we will get a better system throughput, because the hard disk and the I/O are actually the bottleneck over here. What happens with all the marketing that we go through is that they actually highlight what processor is coming along with the CPU, but then that actually does not do good to. They are making the customer spend more for things that really don't increase the performance of the system. Coming to the hard disk, we have we used to have a parallel ATA systems. Now we have a serial ATA drives, which are the SATA drives, and we have the solid state or the SSD drives. Now the SATA drives can come in 5400 or 7200 or 10,000 RPM. uh, we generally these get specified, but what happens is that these generate a lot of heat as compared to the solid state drive, which do not generate heat because there are no moving parts over there. So they consume a very little power as compared to the regular magnetic hard disk as well. Also, with respect to the speed, if your parallel ATA was X, serial ATA is around 2x, where X being around 5 to 10 Mbps. SSD can anyway go anywhere up to like 100 to 200x, depending on what test we are running. So we see that although they consume less heat and they are much faster, these are also very shock proof. Coming to the price, we see that serial ATA hard disk are around 0.3 GB, 0.3 cents dollar per GB, whereas solid state drive are around $2 per GB. But if you don't really need around 250 or 500 GB hard disks, and you're fine with around 80 GB, then the dollar value of this particular device may not be as high as it appears to be with the price per GB. There are also some other factors like the latency, then amount of heat generated, which translates into power required for cooling, which translates into the battery life of the thing. The shock, how shock proof it is. SSD are much more shock proof as compared to the magnetic ones with moving parts, and basically the size of this particular device itself. Also, with respect to the RAM, generally the thumb rule is that if you have around 2 GB of RAM, it is good enough for the general home use, and anything above that does not boost the system performance much, as the increase in the speed of the RAM would actually improve the performance. To give you the kind of spectrum that exists, a DDR2 RAM at 800 megahertz actually gives you a throughput of around 6.4 Gbps, whereas a DDR3 at 2200 megahertz, which is a high-end RAM used in servers, will actually give you around 60 Gbps, which is like 10 times more. So based on where you lie in the spectrum, it will give a huge boost, and it is not always about the size. What if you have a, let's say, a 8 GB RAM, out of which at any given time only 3 GB is being used? So coming back to this particular bottleneck graph that we are watching, What AMD 350 chip, which is inside this Lenovo, does is that it combines the CPU and the arithmetic processing unit. What happens because of that is that the communication between these two is almost very seamless. They do not depend on the bus. Also, the CPU is a pretty toned down version of the regular full scale CPUs, and hence it 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 reduces the power as well as the cost of the overall system, as without compromising too much on the overall throughput of the system, because the rest of the bottlenecks are not yet impacted. It still does not come with a SSD, so that is a one very big bottleneck. If you got the money, you should go for it. Coming to this laptop, just switch it on. So this laptop comes with external monitor and a USB drive on one side. This is the power and the external network card. And there are two USB ports on the other side with a HDMI output and the network port. So we totally have around 3 USB with one HDMI. It's typically good for a regular home usage with sort of internet watching as well, internet and movie light games. It will not be able to take any like really resource intensive games, but for regular gaming it is okay. What this laptop comes with is a one key recovery as well. You can back up your system on your D colon, so that when your operating system gets corrupted, you can actually restore it. If you are not if you have taken a backup on your D colon, and let's say you are not able to even start, your Windows is totally corrupted, even then this particular software will really help. It is embedded at the hardware level. There is a little button over here which you can actually press with your pen, and it will actually take the system backup at any point, last system backup that is available, and it will actually restore it on your C colon, which is a clean slate. So as long as your hard disk does not crash, this particular one key recovery program will actually restore your system to either factory setting or the last backup setting whenever required.